In the Aztec world, dogs were not just companions but healers, sacred guides to the afterlife, and even food in some cases. In the heart of Mesoamerica, dogs held a unique role like nowhere else in the world, intertwined with religion, medicine, and mythology and other ways which may surprise you. This is the story of the dogs of the Aztecs, and why they may have been the most important animals in an entire civilization, and how their descendants still walk amongst us today. The Aztec Empire at its peak had massive temples rise above the city of Tenochtitlan, the buzz from markets and rituals connecting people to their gods. Amongst the buzz, there were small, sometimes hairless dogs moving between homes across the streets. These weren't ordinary dogs, but carefully bred across generations by the Aztecs. Notably, they were often hairless, with extremely smooth skin, ranging from small to medium-sized dogs, noted as calm, quiet, and closely bonded to their humans. Oddly enough, they had comfortingly warm bodies, which we'll get to later as being a perk of owning one during these times. Today, we know this breed as the Xoloitzcuintli, or shortened today as Xolo. To the Aztecs, these dogs ascended as just a breed, but were in fact sacred. Smaller breeds in this time, known as techichi, are origins of the modern-day Chihuahuas too. Its name itself tells a story. Xoloitzcuintli comes from the Nahuatl language, Xolotl, the name of a powerful god, and it's Cuintli, meaning dog. This is the connection where everything changes, as Xolotl in Aztec mythology represented the god of lightning, fire, and death, depicted as the head of a dog oftentimes. According to the mythology, he created the Xoloitzcuintli and installed a divine purpose to guide human souls through the afterlife. Aztecs didn't believe that death was the end, but the beginning of a long and arduous journey through the underworld. To reach their final resting place, souls had to pass through multiple levels of obstacles like rivers, hard terrain, and deadly challenges. But they did not go alone. Dogs like the Chihuahua types and Xolos were believed to guide their people through this difficult journey. One of their key roles was to help souls cross a deep river, which human spirits could not achieve alone. Without a dog, souls would be lost forever. This belief was so evident and strong in Aztec culture, they were often buried alongside the dead. Archaeologists have uncovered dog remains and clay dog miniature replicas in burial sites across ancient Mexico. Not decorative, but practical from a spiritual perspective, as they were meant to accompany their owners in the afterlife. In many cases, unfortunately, dogs were sacrificed so that they could serve this purpose. It's a powerful idea, no matter how brutal this may seem. A bond between human and animal doesn't end with death, but continues afterwards on a separate path. Outside of the afterlife, these dogs still held strangely practical roles that are often overlooked. For example, in everyday life. Their higher body temperatures and smaller sizes meant dogs were used almost like heating pads, placed close to them when resting for warmth, or even more specifically by placing them near aching joints or sore muscles to soothe and increase blood flow. This wasn't symbolic, but a practical application in a time of limited resources. They were believed to protect homes from evil spirits, acting as spiritual and physical companions. That being said, things take a surprising turn at this stage. Despite sacred status, medical application, and companionship, dogs were also eaten. The Aztecs had very few domesticated pets, and dogs were one of their sources of meat. Historical records describe feasts where dogs were prepared alongside other foods like chicken and beef. In other modern cultures, this feels like a massive contradiction, but the Aztecs didn't see it like this. Their worldview encapsulated duality, life and death, sacred and practical, physical and sacred. To us, they may be opposites, but to them, they were connected. A dog could guide your soul in the afterlife, even after playing a role in a sustaining life. Dogs also lived extremely closely to their people, whether this was guarding homes, helping with hunting of small animals or vermin, and of course, companionship. This is where we feel more relatable, as years later this bond hasn't changed. It's also easy to forget how ancient these dogs are. Archaeological records show us that dogs, very similar to the modern Chihuahuas and Xolos, existed in Mesoamerica over 3,000 years ago, even before Aztecs themselves. These dogs were passed through generation to generation. The Olmecs, Maya, Toltecs, and then of course the Aztecs. The modern Xolos and Chihuahuas are not recreated breeds, but direct descendants of ancient dogs. This makes them some of the oldest and most historically continuous dog breeds in the world today. However, their survival wasn't always guaranteed for them. When the Spanish arrived in the 1500s, indigenous traditions were massively disrupted, with European dogs being introduced, helping reduce the importance of the Xolo in particular. Over time, the breed was at a bottleneck, and by the 1800s they were really only found in rural areas of Mexico. From sacred animals to an empire to almost not existing. Yet, they survived. In the 1900s, there was a renewed effort to preserve Mexican cultural heritage, and other enthusiasts searched remote areas to try to increase breeding efforts for the Xolo population. Even today, they are recognized as the national dog of Mexico, and managed to survive a brutal history but kept its unique, lovable temperament. The modern Xolo dogs carry traits shaped by thousands of years of living closely with humans, retaining their calm, loyal, and bonded personalities with their people. Unlike other higher-energy breeds, Xolos are generally more relaxed, with a thoughtful nature about them. Still forming very strong attachments to their families, they often choose one person, usually to be their primary companion. Considering their history, this makes perfect sense. They were relied upon for comfort, protection, and spiritual guidance for thousands of years. Just like a guard dog is bred for protection, these were bred for all-rounded companionship. Being a naturally alert breed, they can be wary of strangers, making good watchdogs, although not being typically described as aggressive. They are more observant, assessing the environment and then responding. The mix of loyal but curious, calm, and attentive makes them an intelligent and sensitive breed. Harsher training doesn't typically work well, but positive and consistent guidance goes much further. If interested in the breed, you'll be glad to hear that they're known to still seek physical closeness, just like their ancestors. Modern Xolos love warmth and affection, described often as leaning up against their owners or curling up in the evening. Bred thousands of years ago to provide comfort. Who couldn't love this breed? The story of the Xolo is one of survival, adaptation, and an unbroken bond between dogs and humans, even despite the sacrifices. What the Aztecs believed says a lot about us as people. Across cultures and the entirety of human existence, we have consistently turned to dogs for something deeper than utility. We trust them, rely on them, and form bonds from that unique feeling. Difficult to explain to someone who has never owned a dog. The Aztecs took this idea to the extreme. As life ended, the mortal world fades away. The only thing who remains by your side is your dog, guiding you through the unknown. And the next time you see a Xolo or Chihuahua, remember this. You're not just looking at a pet, you're looking at a relationship that has existed for thousands of years. One that, according to an ancient civilization, was strong enough to last forever. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe and suggest any ideas for future videos on your favorite dogs. See you soon!